So, no problem, but if you use that SR for the proper intentions, then it can elevate you to levels you never knew you could get to. That's probably my thought. This morning, I've been meditating on that a little bit.
Ooh, man, it's hot out here. Eric, can you hear me good?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
All right, great. Yeah, I like that, what you're saying about the keto logic. The keto logic. All right. Um, so just as a side note, whatever, I'm just saying like we're giving classes now and it's like, it's just like it's just a lot of energy around everything that we're doing. And I'm really excited about all these like crazy expansive openings that's happening with India. I don't know why. I don't know what. Maybe it's a past life thing. Hold on one second. Yeah, yeah. So anyways, Bikitzer, the point is just saying. Okay, so the idea is to say like this is basically like I totally lost my train of thought. All right, so hold on one second. Okay. So, anyways, all right. So we're back. All right. It's like this guy came over. He's looking for a friend of mine. He's over here, but he's not here. He's like out of town. So the whole thing. Hey, we're living a real life Torah. It's like it's Shiva. It's like real life. It's every day. No types of different things are happening, going on, and so where we're at right now. Maybe that's the whole idea. It's like a reset, right? Okay, so where we're at right now. Okay, so where we're at right now is we're at a very important part of Chilak Pirkei Chokmah, which is a sefer written by Ramchal. And the sefer that the Ramchal wrote was he felt like in a lot of areas like he was rectifying. His position was like there's certain systems of thought that were revealed by the Ari and recorded by Rabbi Chaim Vital, right? And so that certain system of thought that he said was brought down, he said that some of them were like very like metaphorical per se, and not necessarily like frames of thought that we could actually actualize. And so he wrote this safer to actualize or rectify some of the kind of like misconceptions in a way. And so where we're at now is a very like pinnacle part because at this age of the safer, he's explaining something that's like really important. I mean, when I say really important, it's something that we've talked about a lot, but he's going to really like provide like really like maximum clarity, right? And and normally what I wanted to do is to learn like Hilchot Tshuva by the Rambam, but we have to do this today, right now, right? So that's where we're at right now. Okay, so where we're at in this sefer is like this. We have been very clear on the overarching the overarching general structure of the creative system that we live in, right? Like we're pretty clear on that overarching system. Now we're going into the particulars, right? We're in the klal and now we're in the prat, right? And so in this frame of prat, we're going into very specific. We're going into very, specific understandings of how this general system functions, right? So, like, for example, you can have like you have a company like say Nike, right? In the company in the company called Nike, is a company, right? It's a business. It's called Nike, right? And then, but within that company, there's all these different departments, right? In different departments, and you have a sales department, a marketing department, shipping department, manufacturing department, all these different departments, right? And they all kind of like work together. So what we learned about before in terms of the creative structure of the world was a general frame of reference, right? A general frame of reference. And then outside of that general frame of reference, which is Nike, right? In this context, but we're talking about creation, right? So we went to the general frame of reference that ain't soft and this and the different worlds and all these things, right? So now we're going into the particular, which is the Sphirot, right? Which is the Sphirot and the Parsufim. And so this clarity is like a very big deal because I don't know, it's like so big right now. We're learning. Okay, so let's just go into it. We'll figure out the profundity. Is that a word? Profundity? I feel like it is. All right. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so he says like this. It says Sfirot ve Parsuf. So zi Sfirot ve Sfirot veish Parsuf. Sfirot hu chocha min ha'asar chechochat bekalal. So he says like this. So he's saying like there is a Sfirot and then there is a Parsuf, right? A Sfirot is a power that is one power out of 10 powers. So the 10th Sfirot, he's saying a Sfirot is one of these contexts of 10. As one of these powers, Sfirot is a foundation on which is built the entire structure of a particulars dependent upon it. So he's saying, he says, okay, as one of these powers, so one of these Sfirot, right? The Sphira is the foundation on which is built the entire structure upon one is dependent upon. Okay, so he's saying like in essence, how do we function as humans, right? How do we function as humans? We function as humans because we're bringing down a light from the upper worlds, and then we're bringing that light in the upper worlds into this world, right? That's how it's functioning. So we're saying the system of how that's done is through how we understand it conceptually, right? Because this is like humongous levels we're talking about, right? So the level that we can understand, which is the dumbing of the dumbing of the dumbing of it down of it, we understand it in the frame of 10 spherot, right? And in this frame of 10 spherot, each spherot is built upon another. So this is this is that like you a bird, God forbid, kosher burger. So right, so you have a loaf of bread, then you have like say lettuce, and then you have like say pickles, and then you have the beef itself, and then you may have onions or whatever, right? But there's different levels. Right? They make a sandwich with parts, right? So this is like this throat, right? So this throat is the energy expression of what I'm saying. So there's different levels of energy from the highest to the lowest, right? And each in they're divided into 10 parts. The Parsuf shows in details the complete perfection of each whole power seen explicitly in the form of the fundamental likeness of man. Its roots lie in the secret of 613, which constitutes the entire structure of Adam. Okay, so we're gonna obviously gonna understand what all this means, right? But we're seeing it, the Parsif in detail. Okay, I mean, I could sit there and pontificate, but what's more important is exactly what the Ram call read, because we're trying to understand his frame of thinking, right? It's not just like we're learning at it as like Bukwal, like this is the whole thing. No, this is how the Ram call understands it. This is the Ram call reading the Ari and improving upon it. Like think about like what we're reading right now. This is like I don't even know how to compare this. You know what I mean? This is like it's like if LeBron James could go through Michael Jordan's career and every mistake that Michael Jordan ever made, LeBron James was able to go into that moment in that game and perfect and do the opposite. I mean, it sounds weird. I don't know, maybe that doesn't make sense, but the point is saying the Ram Call is giving us a critique on the Arizal's understanding of Kabbalah, right? So it says, Ata ni daver od yadati da ata da vesirik. So he says now we will discuss another fundamental that must be understood in relation to the spheroids themselves. Chalaki ve'ha'amar hazeh bet. He says there is a proposition consensus of two parts. He says part one is Furot, and there is a Parsuf. This introduces the subject of two categories. The second part is the Sfirot, as explained in categories. Yis Sfirot to Yis Parsuf. Yihalukim lehavina be'anaina behasfirot, but so he says that the part two, he said there is a sphirot and there is a parsuf. He says two categories may be understood in relation to the sphirot, the sphira and the parsuf. And sphira themselves sometimes appear like this and sometimes like that. But for now, we will say that the entire government of the world can be examined in the terms of Sfirot and also in the terms of Parsufim. These are the two pathways of the Ramchal in the Holy Rav, the Arizal, blessed memory. Wow. Okay, so this is interesting. All right, so what the commentator is bringing right now on this, he's basically saying that what we're going to learn now is in this area, I guess the Ari, I guess the reason why he's bringing this out because in this particular area, the Ari and the and Rabbi Moshe Colavoto, the Ramchal in blessed memory, and Ari's in blessed memory, they agree in this area. See, it's a big backstory around the Sefer. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we're just kind of jumping in and out of it. But the point is saying the commentators of the Sefer are making a point of saying that making us know that this is the outlook of the Ari and the Ramchal. They agree in this area. Okay. So it says Sphira hu chocha min ha'asar chochot bekalal. So it says the Sphira is a power that is 1 out of 10 overall. What does this mean? When we speak about the law of government, the 10th Sphira constitutes all the basis types of laws. It is clear that since the entire government is included within them, and the details of government are many. If so, these are the 10 types that are included in details. All right. So the point is saying, I think we have a good understanding of the 10 spheros, right? Like it's just like, from the top four to the top four to the second to the lower to the bottom four to the top four, there's 10 steps. And each one of these steps that you take has a certain influence, right? And as you perfect his influence, you continue to climb. Another way to look at it is that when you look at, like, say, the rain coming down from the sky down to earth, so that's a process of descension, right? From above to below. So if you took that and broke those stages into 10 parts, you would be able to understand the transition of the energy from its highest potency to mid and to its lowest, right? But you could do it through the frame of 10. You understand what I'm saying? So as one of these 10, one of these powers, the spheroid is the foundation on which is built the entire structure of particulars dependent upon it. Everything relating to the government must be understood in terms of these two categories. Either which spheres or which parsufis. Everything related to government must be understood in these two terms. Either which sphere or which parsufis. Okay, that's interesting. So he's saying that, like, so when you look at the idea of creation, everything that exists has to be contemplated. One frame, the sphere, the other frame is parsuf. Now, what does that mean? That means, like, say, for example, like, that you understand the idea of, like, Hesed, Gevurah, and Tiferet, right? Hesed, sharing, Gevurah, limitations, and Tiferet, like a balance of all, right? And so sometimes some people say, hey, some people are very Hesed. And then some people say, oh, that person is very Gevurah. And then some people say, that person is like they're pretty good balance, you know? So what we're saying is that people have different energies that they express. But then within that energy that they express is also a set of unique lights, right? So just because you could bring two people in a room that are both Gevurah, or two people in a room that are both Hesed, it doesn't mean that within that frame of Hesed and Gevurah, they're the same. I mean, the Hesed of Hesed or Hesed of whatever it is, they're the same. Because they may have a general framework, which is the sphero, but then they have another aspect, which is the particulars, which is the parsufim. Ve'hinu kamashle ma'ala kaver ech hasfurfim ma'anim. He says, as we have already discussed earlier, the parsufim are nothing but array in which the powers extend. The part so in he says ordered along the lines of kindness, hesed, judgment, gevurah, and mercy, and their levels, in which all their pathways, their laws of control, and their model of government. Vehinu asar chechot cham. He says the 10 sphirot are 10 powers and no more, and they constitute the appropriate levels of kindness, judgment, and mercy, as discussed in the earlier Kabbalist by the early Kabbalistic sages. the Mikubalim. And that's actually what Chief Rabbi Pinchas is. Chief Rabbi Pinchas is the Mikubal. That's what he is. And so he says, and these are the foundation of the entire government. And he says government, the overall arching structure of everything around our neshama. All right, back. Hey, they can't stop us. We're back. Okay, so maybe Hashem wants us to pause, right? So this is the idea of this reframing this idea of how we understand Hashem's light and how it disseminates into from one world to another. And our way of understanding it is through this concept of the 10 sphirot, right? And the 10 sphirot is how we understand these unique qualities. But within that, there's another more particular way to look into it, and that's what he's saying about these parsufim. So you have the neshama, and then you have the parsufim inside of it. Hold on. Okay, so we're back on this part. Okay, so that's where we're at, right? He says, and after this, he says, okay, so he says like this. He said, there is no parsuf without the sphira. Exactly. This means that in order to understand matters relating to a parsuf, it is necessary to understand the sphirot and to understand its function among the other 10 powers. You know what I'm saying? Like, we understand like this idea. Like we when we were learning Rav Ashlag, he was like, Tiferet, Yesod, and Malchut. But like, wait, what? That's a parsuf, right? He had configurations, right? But this is the essence to understand or analyze that correctly. He said it is first necessary to understand the sphero, to understand its function among the 10 powers. After this, we will seek to understand its pathway in detail, and we will understand it as a parsuf. Ve'alkin lo yikesh yikesh alach ech ferosh. Sorry. Okay. So he says, and therefore there will be no problem in the fact that the Ramchal. You're out. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. All right. Wait. Hey, it's always traffic coming through Yeshiva. It's positive. It's a good thing. Okay. So, anyways, oh yes, we're in the wrong call. So we're in big levels. It's big levels right now, right? So we're bringing this down. And the thing is, what we're trying to do is we're trying to we're in this frame of the creative reality, right? We're in this frame of creative reality. Okay, so it says, except for the aspect of understanding the governance through them, which, okay. All right, so it says, therefore, we have no problem in the fact that the Ram's Blessed Memory interpret the entire Zohar only in the terms of Sfirot, for its For it's certainly true, of course, that the entire government depends on this world, except that in this aspect, we understand the government through them, but not through their parts. We know in general what comes out of them. I'm not gonna touch that. It's just Veki Yishda Medumain Hasferot Malved Veista Vudiin. All right. So he says, and when we know the spheral, when we know this the parsuf, besides knowing which the spheral something in the world derives. So, like again, what's the easy? I think, in my opinion, the easiest way to understand this idea of parsufing, it's like when you see like people make who paint, right? And they have collages and it's just like different random stuff and different configurations. It's like this collage of things, right? And so um you have that type of a structure, right? And what we're seeing in the Ain't Self and the Endless World, there's all these different, it's like one huge collage of different configurations of light. Now, those configurations of light come out of one general structure, which is the Ten Sphero. It's almost like this, like you have, right? So humanity. So you could say Adam represents five Sphero, Eve represents five Sphero, together they'd be 10, right? Okay, fine. Or maybe Adam got six. I'm just joking. But the point is saying, just say you hold that way, right? Then all the human beings that come out of Adam, like today we have 9 billion of them, right? All of them will be different. They're unique, right? They all have uniqueness, right? And so that uniqueness would be, like, say, the parsufim that are within them. There's a general structure within Adam and Eve, but within them is a uniqueness, combination, personality. This is a parsufim. So he says, when we know that the parsufim, beside knowing which sphere something in the world derives, we also know from which part and which aspect or feature of that sphere it derives. Thus, each parsuf is initially a sphere. This is the foundation upon which that particular structure is built. More than that, it is a parsuf. Thus, the proposition continues. Parsuf hu shilamot kol hechach hahu ba ba he says, but the parsuf shows in detail the complete perfection of each whole power, seen explicitly in the form of the fundamental likeness of man. He says to call a parsuf, it is not that it is a particular. It is because this particular is ordered according to the fundamental likeness of man that it is called a parsuf or faces. So let's understand this. All right. So to be called a parsuf, okay, let's understand this. It is not enough that it is a particular, okay? It is because this particular is ordered accordingly to the fundamental likeness of man. Ah, that it is called a parsuf face. It's interesting. It's kind of like what we just said, no? He says ve'akiru sedu. So he says its roots lie in the secret of the 613, which constitute the entire structure of Adam. In this respect, in this respect of the way the way the way the array of parts extends, it is true that each spheroid consists of 10. And there could have been any number of parts when divided up into its particulars. Nevertheless, in truth, what its supreme thought calculated was 613. And this is what we see here below in the human form with the 248 bones and 365 annuals, making a total of 613. So too, the commandments of the Torah consist of 248 and 365, and a total of 613, where everything goes according to this measure. I would say, like in essence, this is the end of chapter letters and names. Wow. Okay. Guess we have to know everything, right? So, anyways, so the idea is like this, right? The idea is to say that this guy, this guy. So the thing is to say that um, hold on a second. So, anyways, so the point is just saying that is as we go forward, we have to like have in mind that there's a bigger picture, right? There's a bigger picture to everything that we're trying to accomplish, right? And so that bigger picture is that mechanism is like
Get you from. I'm not able to hear you.
yeah. No, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, cool. So anyway, so what we're leaving, the point is we're learning this ROM called dynamic, right? And what we're doing is like we're redefining how we interpret ourselves and how we interpret life, right? And we have an option, right? We have an option. We have the option of the reality that we were brought up into and the reality that we're taught and the whole thing. And for me, like I said, I went through that process, and I think I was thinking about it earlier today. It's just like the thing about it is like because I was raised by academics, I feel like it gave me that extra ability to have this kind of like critical analysis, because like my mom was really about like, and still is about like education reform and these type of things. And I believe that she's really, even now, trying to get to that place of truth, right? Like what we're learning right now, right? Like this is like her dream, right? Like she's functioning, doing great work right now. But I'm just saying that like this is the truth, right? The truth is saying that like, well, how are we really designed as human beings, right? How are we, how are we functioning? What are we becoming, right? And what can we become? And like leaving these new definitions that we create about ourselves through these learnings. Like this guy said to me, like he said something. Somebody was trying to give me a compliment the other day, and I was just like, I don't want it, because I don't want anyone defining me. I don't want anyone defining me for good or for bad. I just want to define myself because God gave me a system. Torah mitzvot, 613. The Ramchal, what he's talking about right now with the 613, he's saying the whole structure of the universe is this way. We understand why, though, because we've learned others foreign. So he's saying this part, but we could fill it in the blanks and be like, yeah, the soul is made of 613 parts, right? We learned the Ari, right? Like we're not, I'm not just bringing you into the Ramchal and saying like, oh, well, the Ramchal's here. It's a great safer. No, we learned the Ari. We learned Shar Kedusha, right? We learn those matrix. We learn Rav Ashlock's introduction, right? We learn these things, right? And so, you know, we learn those things already, right? So when we learn the Ram call and he says to us, he says like, hey, you know what? When he says, hey, you know what? You're Adam Kadmon, right? He's saying like, no, he says you're Adam Kadmon, right? He's saying you're Adam Kadmon. He's saying like, you know what? You're an expression of the highest expression of God's light. Now, I lived in a reality, and I think all of us would agree with that. Like, we all lived in a reality where it's like, hey, you know what? I'm American. I'm African American. I'm white. I'm Hispanic. All these terms, right? Now, my thing is, the people who created these terms, was their goal to empower me? Was their goal to give me tools to achieve my purpose in this lifetime in terms of correcting my soul? Was that their intention, or was it something else? Like, what was their intention, right? And so, like, if I analyze that critically, because I've only looked at it as a black perspective, like, yeah, they're trying to hold me down. But like, if I take it on a human level and I go to the level of Adam, then I have to look at everything is the same, right? So if I look at everything the same, these ideas that we've perpetuated upon ourselves, right? Have these ideas helped us, right? Because at the end of the day, like if we love God, we have to understand that everything is perfection. Through the deficiency, we find the perfection. So we could look at the system and say, hey, you know what? Look at what's wrong. That is God. When we see something that's wrong, that's God. Right? And the perfection of God is seeing how this deficiency leads to something greater. Right? That's what we're dealing with here, right? We're seeing the imperfections in the world and we're seeing God within them. Why? Because we have to see the total connection. We have to see the total connection, right? And from that space of witnessing the perfection of Hashem, meaning that, oh, okay, because I didn't have this, because I didn't have that, because I was denied this, because I didn't have enough of this, I had to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And because I had to do this and this and this and this and this, it made me have to develop these skills and these skill sets and this fortitude and this outlook in order to accomplish what I needed to do. And like, and if you think about like, when we accept that circular relationship, that they call it eagle, right? Eagle circle, right? This idea of eagle of circle is this idea of saying this continuity. No, that everything, there's just different shades of the same light. And sometimes we have experiences in life where there's a light that's revealed, right? There's a light that's revealed, right? And that light that's revealed is dimmer than it was maybe 6 months ago. But it's the same light, right? And it's a really important idea, especially in relationships. And as a person, as you see, I've struggled, have through different challenges. You have to reconnect to that original light, right? The original light of marriage, the first original light of the first date, all these original lights, right? It's important to have them in mind because that light still exists now. Now there may be a different expression of it, right? It may have a different tint to it. It may have a different brightness to it, but nevertheless, it's the same light. It's a seed from that same light. That was a bereshit, and that was a seed, right? And so that's what we're just trying to get to, because it's like, what is my potential? If I use the definitions of the world, I kind of have an idea, right? I have an idea. But if I use the definitions of God, it's different, right? And I give you an example. The Midrashim says the angels came to Abraham and told Abraham and Sarah that they were going to have children. And they didn't, they laughed in a way. They were kind of like, like the Midrashim goes into detail, like it's trying to bring out. It's not saying, oh, this is what happened, Badafka, but it's saying that this is the energy, this is the expression that was going on that's important to understand to really encompass what's being expressed, right? So the Midrashim is holding that, saying like, hey, well, um, the Midrashim are holding by in saying. The angels came and they came into Abraham's tent and they took him outside the tent. And one angel went underneath his arm, like, gave him a hug almost from the side. And another angel came on the side of him and almost like kind of gave a hug, but his arms were around both. And they said, from down here looking up, you're totally right. We did the stars, we did everything, we're totally okay with our fate. It is what it is. And then the angels come. It's like, no, you're supposed to change the world. You're supposed to bring a new idea, a new consciousness, you know, into the world, right? That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to bring these things in. And Abraham's like, nah, me and my wife, we're elderly. We did our life already. Stars said, we looked at it. So the angels come to the stars and said, yeah, look at the stars. We see what you're saying. But then they took them to the world above the stars. And they said, up here, you decide. Up here, your connection to Hashem decides, right? Right? And so the point is, like in life, like why does the Torah keep having these stories of people who just all of a sudden out of nowhere just get hit with this big responsibility? Like, wait, we already have these lives. What are you doing? Now we're responsible. Now we're here with these people. Wait, what's going on? And they accepted it. They accepted it. maybe that's why most had to go through such struggle to accept it, because maybe we just like kind of Hashem says Lekacha, Abraham goes. He does. And then you see Moshe struggle with that. Like in our life, is that acceptance of who we're supposed to be and doing it, going. I'm here to change the world. I'm here to remove chaos. And I'm going to work with the means that Hashem has given me to do it. Everyone's at different places, everyone's at different times. But like that's the challenge, right? I going to accept that? Oh no, I'm here to live a regular life. Leave me alone. I live righteous. I do good. I learn Torah. Look, we're learning. Come on, leave me alone. And now you're coming along saying like, no, I gotta remove chaos from the world. I gotta remove chaos from my community. I gotta create projects to empower people that are disadvantaged. I have to do that along with my spiritual, along with learning Torah, along with keeping Shabbos, along with doing. And in fact, all those things just put you in the position to do it better, to share better, to be a better giver. The Torah, the mitzvot, because we understand where it's coming from. How to get to a place of lishma. Lishma. So, anyway, so that's where we're at, But we have to make decisions in our life, at some point, like what are we here to do? You know, you work, you pay rent, that, all that. 100% I agree with you. It's there, it's there. But that's like a man-made system, though. I'm not mad at it. It works. I mean, Trump is doing tariffs because American people buy, and buy with no culture other than buying. So everyone wants our markets, right? Everyone wants to do business in America because we buy, and buy. Okay, so Trump's saying if you want to do that, you gotta provide American jobs. You have to bring your company and make sense of your business here in America. But that's because we're trained to buy. And in order to buy, we have to work, because we got to earn. Right? So all these, that's what we got to do. That's the system they created. I'm saying you travel other places in the world, people aren't like thinking like that. It's a crazy thing. That really shocked me the first time I went to Egypt. When I went to Egypt, I was like, I think it was like 2004. I went to Egypt, and it's a whole long story around it, like the whole big story. But the point is just saying that I was in Cairo and I knew these guys, right? I met these guys because, all right, I'll give you a little backstory. I'm not going to go into the whole thing because it's been, a class. But the point is just saying that I went to the Kabbalah Center, as you guys know, 2003, whatever, 2000, yeah, like three, whatever. And they went to later that year, I got there, they were going to go to Israel, right? The whole thing, they're going to Israel, whatever. And I went, and that was the first time for me really out of the country. I mean, I just graduated high school, like right before that, And I mean, it wasn't the first time out of the country. Okay, it wasn't, because the first time I was out of the country was Cancun, because we went on our senior trip. Our senior trip was in Cancun. I just like thought about that. It's like a crazy idea. Why do they do that to us? Like, go and sin. You know what I'm saying? Go and make sin. Go and do it. Cancun. All you guys, now go. So, anyways, so we went to Cancun. That was a crazy experience. It was like we were like really young, like 17 type thing, 17 going in 18 type of thing, and it was just like tons of alcohol, and it was just like it was the first time like we were just like. So, anyways, we just like went crazy for the first couple of days, and we were we were still good kids, you know. We didn't like go crazy like other kids that were there, but I don't know. Anyways, 4 years later, I and you know the story, right? But anyway, so we came to Israel, right? And like came to Israel, it was like an unbelievable, overwhelming experience. You know, imagine like you're coming from LA and you just all of a sudden you're in Israel, and it's just like this. And you're with the Kabbalah Center, right? So everything's consciousness. You're aware of what's going on. You're aware of the energies, everything, right? So we go there for Rosh Hashanah, and that was my first time, like Rosh Hashanah, first one. The country, the whole thing, right? And that's really dope. Honestly, that's what really changed everything. I think that was it. I mean, there was a few other things that really like cemented and allowed it to mature. But I'll just say, just as like a moment, just like boom, like you could never go back. Was me coming to Israel with the Kabbalah for Rosh Hashanah. That was it. Game over. I went to the Arizal, the Rabbi Isaac Luria's mikvah. That was the first mikvah I did. You know, I mean, it's like crazy stuff. Like it's like just not real. You know, up all night on the beach, partying. You know, this whole thing. It was an unbelievable experience, right? So I did that, and then the next year I was so overwhelmed. I was like, bro, like, I grew up like my parents were Muslim, you know, the whole thing. So I was like, hey, you know what? I gotta go to Mecca. I gotta do Hajj, bro. If this is what Rosh Hashanah is like, what do you think Hajj is like? And you gotta realize, I grew up seeing pictures of the Kaaba in my house. I'm saying like it was like big, massive pictures. I don't know why my parents were so dedicated to it. They never went. They never made Hajj. I mean, that maybe they will one day, you know. But my mom came to Israel, so that's even better, right? That's the real thing. But the point is just saying that for Pesach. But the point is just saying that dynamic of going to Saudi Arabia was like a really big deal, you know, and I was there for like almost I think like 2 months. I think it had to be almost 2 months, something like that, like a month and a half. Yeah, because it's like I don't know, it's like a whole thing, whatever, blah blah. Anyway, so I go there, and it's a very high level experience, very high level experience. A lot of weird stuff too, a lot of weird stuff, but it was a very high level experience, and I completely like I'm not sure clear why I brought it up. Trying to explain something. You know, it's funny. Like I was just like out on the balcony, like giving this class to you guys, and it's like this guy's like yelling at me from downstairs because it's like, why is this guy yelling at me? I'm trying to give a class, like, like you know, he's like trying to get my attention. I'm just like, it's just crazy. This is like a new reality for me. Like I went on like YouTube today, and it's like I did this interview yesterday. You know, I told you guys I did this big in like India, um, the Jewish world, but she brings Israel and Israel together, whatever. She's very popular. Anyway, so I did a whole like podcast, a picture of us together and a thing, whatever. And it's like boom, like it was like not even an hour, it was like 500 likes, all these shares. Like, so it's just like everything's like really expanding, and it's like people react weird, you know. And the thing about it, I'm not like a rapper, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like an entertainer or like some politician. I'm just like a guy who teaches Torah, right? And it's like you have this reaction out of people, and it's just like people are literally coming by the place to try to talk to me from my balcony. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not like normal, you know. My Houston family. Can we talk about the gentleman who passed away? And because we're going to do something for him tomorrow. Could you guys kind of give me like an insight on a little bit of that?
Yeah, sure. Toda, Rabbi. Um, uh, his name is Elder. We refer to him as Elder Michael Rowland Senior, and he we've known them now upward maybe 10 years now, and they live in Ohio, but they've been to our home multiple times here in Texas. Especially for Yom Tovs, and just a very, very, well-rounded, faithful, Torah believing, Torah keeping uh, family. Uh, Sweetest people you ever wanted to meet. And, just one of those personalities. This husband and wife team was just people that you have this idea, this mindset that, that they're going to live forever. Can't believe that, he's not here. He was just that type of person. He was an entrepreneur, um, uh, businessman, lived a really pursued a debt-free life, um, and just was an incredible example of an elder, uh, just full of wisdom and understanding. And so his wife, Mother Rowland, referred to as Mother Rowland. She's just been just such a blessing to me, my wife, my children, um, and she just she has that motherly, just those mothers that really are walking in wisdom, just wisdom, and he passed away in actually in his at home. Um, he had a heart surgery, and everything was going well. And then, from what we understand, he passed away in his sleep. And so um, they are, it really is a blessing because the Most High is really giving them a lot of and is still giving them a lot of favor. They have been pursuing righteousness and Torah living, Torah learning for many years now. And you know, his wife, Mother Rowland, she's really moving. She's really moved in a direction to really make sure that he is put away in a very righteous and holy manner. Uh, More of an orthodox funeral service, and so tomorrow, I think tomorrow, they're the preparing of the body, the wrapping, the washing, just the whole. I want to make sure I'm saying it right. The Tahara
Yeah,
service
yeah.
will be done, and then the funeral will be scheduled um, Thursday, the following day. And so this is, it really is a blessing. You know, they were, it's interesting because I talked to her yesterday, and they were able to get the garments, the burial garments, and her son went and picked it up, and it really was a blessing because she told me that he just, man, when he grabbed them, and he had them in his hand, he really just, he wept and he cried and mourned. And she just, she went to go and console him, and he just looked at his mother and he said, he said, this is how my father, this is how he lived. And and he says this is basically the culmination of his life. That even in his death, he's gonna be honoring Hashem. And so this, I mean, it's very moving yesterday. So that you want to say anything about? No. Okay, my wife. And so we just, we want to honor Elder Roland. He means the world to us.
Yeah, no, I'm with it. So wait, let me ask you: if they're burying him tomorrow, is it good to do what we want to do with it, or no?
You know what? I want to talk to you about that. I'm thinking maybe afterwards. I think afterwards would be better because because it also depends on
Like
what the
after
road.
Shabbat, maybe.
Yeah, probably after Shabbat. I think after Shabbat would be
Okay.
a better
Okay.
time.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay.
Like,
So yeah,
what do you think? Like, do you think
I
it's
mean,
customary
it's. I
for
mean, it's. But well, the thing is, you're not supposed to impose anything on the mourner. You know what I'm saying?
that?
So if it's a situation where you guys are doing something for her, for him, and she decides she wants to listen or join in, that's cool. But like, we shouldn't definitely like impose anything. You know what I'm saying? It'd be something that you guys are doing with me, you know, and in the yeshiva, and and then and if she wants to join in or whatever, that's on her, but we're not imposing anything. We're just honoring his life with you guys, you know what I'm saying? So whenever you guys want to do it, I mean, we could do it tomorrow, you could play it for her, maybe, you know what I mean? I don't know, I'm just saying, like, with these types of things, the sooner the better. You know what I mean? The first 7 days are really important.
Right. That's right. You're exactly right. And that was that's kind of been our sentiments as far as just not really imposing and putting anything on her. It's now when when I mentioned it, we were talking about it, and we were able to um, help her to help with the arrangements and everything, and just getting everything in order. And so the idea is that when I mentioned that as something that we would like to do, uh, she was like, I want to be there. So I think that it would be more appropriate afterwards, um, if she wants to be a part of that. That's something she was real adamant about. But I think it'd be more appropriate after, because tomorrow's going to be a big day. Tomorrow's going to be a
Big
big
day.
day because
It's a big day.
it's a very, very big day.
A lot,
It's,
a lot of emotion, a lot of emotions. It's a day of shift. Everything shifts tomorrow.
exactly, exactly. And so we're working with them, and so I'm trying to get the it's a copy of the I want to make sure I'm saying it right. Ma'arab Yaduk,
Okay.
Yabuk,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for Jacob. I'm trying to get a PDF copy of that so that they would have a copy of that during that time frame of the preparing of the body.
Yeah.
So so I have it there. And so that's pretty much what we're going to be focusing it on today. It just helping them through that. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, 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 yeah. You broke up a little bit though.
Yeah. But Toda again, and just keep the Roland family. It's a pretty large family. Keep them in your prayers.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll do things, and we could do this dynamic, and we could figure out anything ongoing. But yeah, I mean it's definitely an honor to honor a righteous man's life, and to um, to learn some Torah in his honor, and that being part of the additional testimony on his behalf in the next world, right? And that's the big idea behind it, is like the mitzvahs that we do in this world are testimony to the people in the next world. So like when Hashem looks to judge, right? Because maybe they made a mistake, who knows? God forbid they ever did, but to say hypothetically they made a mistake, when they see that, it's like that's a big deal. I think about, my parents, and how much support, they have given, me, here in Israel, right? And I think like all the Torah, like the Torah I'm teaching right now, the conversation we're right now, like my parents in the next world, that Torah, this conversation right now is going to stand beside my parents and say, let them into this gate. No matter what happened in a past life, in a past life, in a past life, it don't matter. Look at the sweetness of the Torah of their son in this world, right? So the mitzvahs that we do stand in testimony for the people we love in the next world. So, so whenever you guys want to do it, I mean, I just, it's an important point, but it's with the mourner, it's a very serious thing. Her husband, I mean, she may have felt the way when you guys were talking, but now it's a whole nother series of transitions, and, but the stronger you guys are, the more you guys could, be assist, right? So maybe we could even maybe touch on some of the laws of mourning, right? These types of things, because it's just good to know in general. I mean, we don't have to do a super in-depth study, but just a general understanding and maybe bring some Kabbalistic ideas, connect you to it. But yeah, but we're all in it together. Any final thoughts? Anybody have any final thoughts? I know Otino's, I think, is at work. You at work, Otino? The office?
Thank you, Chief Rabbi.
Yep. Yeah. So Otino's in the office. So yeah, we're good on that. I mean, hey, the thing is, it's like this. Death is like so real, because it's like it's such a void, that comes into the reality, right? And you feel a certain way about it, and it's difficult, it changes you, right? I mean, that's the thing about death. It changes everything. It changes everybody. It changes circumstances. It changes goals. It changes perspectives. It just changes instantly. And people, we feel that change, and that change is mixed in with loss, right? So you have change, and then you have loss. So what does loss mean? Void, right? Because that person on a physical level brought a certain energy, right? Just knowing that they exist, knowing that they're there brought a certain energy. And then you have this dynamic of moving forward. So you have three different areas to deal with, right? You have the area of change. You have the area of loss, which is void. And you have the issue of moving forward. You have to reconcile all those things, right? So it's difficult, and then the people who are close to the people, they have a soul connection, like the wife, the kids, right? It's a soul connection. So as his soul elevates, they're going to be feeling that, right? That's the crazy thing, right? When the soul elevates, the people that you're connected to, you descend from, or at close proximity with, they can feel that. They feel your soul going up into these different levels, what the sages say, and that's why they tell people that to sit shiva, right? For those days is because they have to be completely concentrated on the elevation of that person's soul. So they sit there, they don't do this, whatever, because they're completely concentrated on the elevation of that person's soul. Anyway, so all his soul should be elevated. Say his name again, please.
North. Then turn left onto US 259.
Michael Rowland
M-
Senior.
Wait, Michael.
Roland
Oh,
Senior.
Roland. Okay, Michael Rowland Senior.
No.
Michael Rowland.
Michael Rowland Senior.
Oh, senior, or singer, or senior,
Yeah, SR. He's a senior.
like singer.
No. Michael Rowland Senior. His son is all. His son
Oh,
is
like
also
singer,
Michael Rowland.
like junior. You have junior and you have senior.
Right.
Yeah,
Correct.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant first time. Okay, so Michael Rowland Senior. He should have the highest allegiance. We're gonna learn. We're gonna learn his honor at the right time. You guys know that he has mitzvahs coming on his way. We got additional mitzvahs. He's done a lot of mitzvahs in his life. He's a righteous man, and and that's what we're talking about him, obviously, right? And so so he has additional mitzvahs in his name. He is going to come, and he should elevate, and his family, should be comforted in their mourning, in their difficult time, and we're going to learn. We're going to learn his honor. So we'll keep everything going. Today's only Tuesday. Wow, this is crazy. It's only Tuesday. We like achieved so much, this week. It's like, oh my goodness, man, it's wild. Go ahead. Were you saying something?
Chief Rabbi,
Okay. So, anyways, all right. So, yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah, go ahead.
can you share some more details about what's going on with India?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So India's okay. So India is like, yeah. So I was on a podcast. I'm pretty sure it's going to come out very soon because she's already like started posting about it, and people are like, when does it come out? So it's this girl, and I put a link. I sent your husband a link. So this girl, her name, basically, she's really amazing, right? She's really, really amazing, and she has a podcast called Moses in Israel. I think it's called Moses in Israel because her last name is Moses. And so she's Jewish, and she, was born and raised in India. Her family was for generations, and I guess generations back, they came from the Middle East, like Iraq or something like this, and they just came to India, and I guess they converted and intermixed, and next thing you know, they're Indian, right? And so I met her because she did an interview with the girl noW, who did an interview with me about like we did the interview walking around, whatever, blah blah, noW, right? So we did an interview by her. So anyways, so we all linked up, whatever. So not we all, but we connected, and so I did an interview with her. But I was really impressed by her, and so we're going to do a lot of more stuff together. But it's the beginning of me doing much more press with India, and it seems like, I've already been giving classes in India for the last couple of years, right? And it seems like God's like been pulling me like in this direction, like big time, right? And so this girl's like big deal there, and it's a lot. There's like 80,000 Indians live in Israel, and so this girl's like one of the more outspoken. She has like 65,000 subscribers on like YouTube, So I don't know, like I just felt very safe with her, We did this like amazing interview, and like all types of stuff came out and whatever, and so whatever, we'll see where it goes. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming. But yeah, I'm definitely falling in love with India slowly, and it seems like that's the part of this whole equation in in working even with influencers in India and bringing Torah and all these things, to the table. So it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's beyond logic. It's beyond now we're in India. You see what I'm saying? Like, no, only Hashem creates this. Like, this is beyond you think I thought about this, when I got off the plane in Israel? When I first got off the plane coming to Yeshiva, oh my God, heartbroken from a broken engagement in LA, you know what I mean? Like all types of stuff, right? And I come and it's just like I just like show up with like these bags and I'm like, I'm Jewish now. What do I do? And it's like 8 years, 9 years later, this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like even the guy who's stalking me downstairs, she's like, Chief Rabbi. And it's like, bro, my neighbors are looking, they're like, he's a chief rabbi. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like they're just like, wait, we didn't know. We didn't know. Tell us more. I live in a totally Jewish neighborhood, yeah. But the point is just saying that, but these are the things that manifest. So yeah, so we're in India now. We're there. It's done. It's done. It's done. And more stuff's coming out, right? And it's big, and I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed by the whole Indian energy. I was impressed by her energy. I was impressed by her sophistication. She went to University, I think, of Mumbai, and got her undergrad and I think her postgrad there. And now she lives here. Her parents moved here. And she's like, yeah, I didn't even want to come at first. I was like, what are we gonna do here? And now she's like Mrs. Israel, right? And she's like she was like trained in like Indian ballet. Like so, their version of ballet, she was trained in the Indian version of this whole thing. So she's a dancer, and she's this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So it's just, I don't know. Like, I don't know what God's doing. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm just surrendered. But India is a part of the family. It's done. It's done. After this interview comes out, I mean, it's already done now. Like they're already promoting it. You know what I mean? She's like, this is the first African American rabbi. He's the coolest rabbi ever. Oh my God, it's so amazing. And then she even said on the show, she says, you're gonna see it. She's all, he's our favorite rabbi. You know what I mean? So it's like, come on now, you guy. And that's what I'm saying. That's part of this like my people thing. We have to evolve out of because we're responsible for everybody. We have light. We're Israel, right? So it's just like we're responsible for all the 70 nations, like Abraham, like our father. You know, it's like, come on, we got to go to India. Obviously God wants us there. Obviously we got to throw part. We got a party there. It is what it is. We're there. I don't know how far it goes. We don't know, but we're part of India now. So Africa's there, right? We're with Africa. We're with the Africans. They love us. We're family. The Indians love us. The Hindus, the Brahmins, the Jews, the Muslims. Hey, you guys got to love me too. Okay, I get it. I get it. I converted away. I get it. But we still got to love each other, right? Israel loves us, right? America, I don't know if they know about us so much in America yet, but anyways, I mean, Jewish America knows who we are, but the America, because we, whatever. But so, anyways, we're growing. Yes, so India's here. We're here. How it grows, I don't know, but I mean, I do know it grows, but how it grows, I don't know. But it's crazy. This is crazy reality. So we're working with India now. I don't know. I said it like 8 times, I guess, but yeah, yeah, India. Hallelujah. All right, so let's we're gonna continue on tomorrow, God willing. We're pushing stuff out. We're just these are unbelievable levels. Like we're out of space. We're out of space. And the thing about it, normally we have our class earlier in the morning, but it was just so many meetings, things that had to be taken care of, right? And so we couldn't do it. So this is normally what we learn today is normally what we do in the morning, and in the afternoon, it's more of a more general conversation, and I want to go back into preparing for the month of Elul, and learning it through the Paraduma, the Beis Hamikdash, and that Mashiach consciousness. Because the key thing is the month of Elul is humongous. Why? Because the month of Elul that creates your year. On Rosh Hashanah is just when you receive it, but the work that you do during Elul it creates the vessel for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. To the point, they said the righteous Siddiqim, they're pretty much finished on the first morning of Rosh Hashanah. I mean, there's 2 days, right? So on the first day, the righteous people are there, are forgiven. The second day, the people who are kind of like in between, what people got. Anyways, oh my God. Really. Anyways, so the thing is, the first day of Rosh Hashanah, the righteous people are pretty much forgiven. Go there, shofar, boom, boom, you're done, you're out. But you still go through the other steps, you know what I'm saying, just to cleanse and elevate higher. The people who are like Benoni, people who are kind of like in between, who aren't necessarily righteous, but they're not wicked, they're in between, they're forgiven on the second day. And the people who are in the wicked place, but they hung on for aspect of righteousness to this process, um, they're forgiven on Yom Kippur, right? So we want to be among the righteous, right? We want to go in there. We want to go into Rosh Hashanah and just be pure and stand in front of God and say, hey, you hear the shofar, whether you're blowing it or hearing it by someone else, you hear it, you're cleansed, you do the mitzvah, you're good. Now you're going to continue on first day, second day, the intermediate days, you're going to, stay in the holiness because you want to fly beyond imagination. Like you want to you want to be almost like a malach, like an angel, right? But the point is to make sure we're able to elevate to that level, and we're not the people who are in between, chetzi, as they say in Hebrew, right? Or it's not. I don't know if it's so much like Hebrew. I mean, it's like it's Israeli, like Hebrew, like anyway, half and half, right? Chetzi, right? Half and half, right? So we're not in that frame, right? So We're not in that frame, so we don't want to be there, right? We don't want to be second day people. We want to be forgiven on the first day. So we're going to grind during the month of Elul, right? And we're going to learn, and we're going to do tshuva, and we're going to ask God for forgiveness, and we're going to change our ways, and we're going to ask people close to us, like, hey, where do you think I can improve on? And people that we trust, that we care about us, we're going to give us little things and this. You know what I mean? We're going to do work, right? So when we go into Rosh Hashanah, we're already there. Most people, they're not in this game. They don't understand the power of Elul. Elul is number one, another Rosh Hashanah, right? As we know, right? We have 4 Rosh Hashanahs. Elul is one of them, right? And it's the day that was given the koach of tshuva, right? Oh, and that's another thing too. What we're also going to introduce, we'll start tomorrow in the afternoon, God willing. God willing. I may have to go to this event again, actually. Another situation with the ambassador, Mike Huckabee, right? So it may be a thing I may go to it. I don't know if I want to go. I kind of want to go. I feel like people want me to go to things because they want to be there with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how people invite you places, but they like want you to be there so they could like kind of like roll with you into that conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's like, get off me, please, stop. Let me be free. I don't need that. I met Huck. Me and Huck, we build. I'm building with Huck already. You know, and the way I want to proceed in a situation, I want to write him a letter publicly and say, hey, we got to desegregate the Temple Mount. You know, that's the way the Abraham Accord is going to have real lasting value, and the real creativity of the entrepreneurship is going to come out when we see the Middle East as a place of equality for all religions, Christian, Jewish, and Muslim, Bedouins, Kurds, right? All people, right? And it starts with the desegregation of the Temple Mount. Get them boys off of there. Now, that everyone can stay, right? They can stay, but it needs to be equal. There's no more dominance. There's no more Ottoman Empire. There's no more Turks. That's over, right? So anyway, so that's my conversation. So just like, do I really want to be the guy who rose up? I don't want to be that guy who just rose up to events. That's not my swag. I say like this, and I'll leave you guys with this point. My thing is like this. It's this guy, and I've spoken about him before. Bob Rooks in blessed memory, right? Kenta Rooks, his son, I went to school with. Bob Rooks, guy from Detroit, made some money, I guess, in maybe some like black exploitation films, like Dolomite, this type of stuff. I don't know. He made money. I don't know. I mean, hopefully, I'm not saying wrong. Forgive me if I'm saying the wrong titles, but he made some money. Movies, whatever. Long story short, series of things happens. He eventually bought some bank, and eventually they got to $1 billion in assets, right? So I went to some of this kid, right? So we would always go to his dad's office, and and hang out like during the summertime, right? And we just like kind of like we just got our cars, or Kenta had a car. He had like this big expedition, and we would just chill, like go looking for girls, things that like kids in high school did, right? And then we would go by his dad's office, and his dad always had like celebrities there. He always had like a bunch of snacks and food, and we would just hang out like in the lobby, whatever, and this whole thing. So I grew up like going to his dad's office, type of thing, right? And he loved us being there. And he was an African American guy. His wife was Japanese, because Kenta was mixed, right? Hence the name Kenta, I guess. And I think it's Japanese. I don't know, maybe. Anyways, long story short, I mean, he was just a high concept guy. But one thing he said to me, and I went, he should receive credit for it, is that he told me a story about like when I started like going to the Kabbalah Center and like start venturing out of like the whole like Calabasas scene and like doing stuff and whatever, and like, these type of circles, whatever. And so he told me a story. He said like this. Well, it was like he literally just told me this. Like the type of stuff he would say, right? It's like it was unbelievable. And he would just say it, and you just listen to him. And he was giving unbelievable. He said to me once, like he's like, yeah, because I was like going to the Kabbalah Center, and I think even Kenta came up there a few times. And he said to me, he's like, he said, there's 2 types of black guys. He said this to me. Like, he said, there's 2 types of black guys. And I was like, yeah. He said, one type of black guy, he says, you go to like say these really like fancy fundraisers, right? These like, these presidential fundraisers, someone's running for office, and they invite all these people there, and they have the person come and speak, and people give money, right? And they have these huge, like, huge buffet tables, so like geese, like carved out in like ice, this like really amazing stuff, right? So he said there's two types of black guys in that situation. I'm like, wow, what is he about to say? So one black guy, he comes in and he's amazing. He's dressed great, he's educated, he went to like the Ivy League school, he has his sweater of his frat, and you know, he knows exactly the right things to say, right? He's there, he's groomed. He's groomed. And so when he comes into that room, the fundraiser room with all the rich people and everyone standing around and snacking off of the buffet table, he knows exactly who the money people are, and he knows exactly how to present himself. Right? That's one black guy. He said another black guy comes in and he has like jeans on and a shirt. Shirt's not tucked in. He has a sports jacket over it. He just comes in and he has his hat on, and he doesn't look at anybody. He goes straight to the buffet table and he's looking for the chicken. He's looking for that chicken. He's looking for that lamb. He's looking for that rib, and he's not thinking about nothing else but that. And he just gets his plate and he's just over there going in. He said, those are the two types of guys. He says everybody in the room is going to want to know who that guy is who's eating the chicken in the corner. The guy who comes in, he speaks to talk. They know he ain't got no money. He's in there like them. They're all like with Jay-Z. They're all parking lot pimping, right? They couldn't get into the show, so they in the parking lot trying to pick up the girl, right? So these dudes out there, they're trying to find the money guy too. They're hunting too. So he comes in with his Ivy League hustle, blah blah, and they get it. Like, yeah. We're cool. Oh, McCarthy. Wow, yeah, we know McCarthy too. Wow, yeah, we did summer with him. You can have that conversation. But everybody in the room wants to connect to the guy over eating the chicken, because the fact that he doesn't care means that he got something. So that idea of knowing who you are and valuing who you are is the most powerful mechanism that any human being on planet Earth can have, right? In the Torah that we're learning, that's dealing with the energy, how things are created, how mechanisms are formed, right? And how they relate to the world. That's who we really are. They want me to believe that I'm what they wrote in their books, right? And they want my existence to begin. They want my Bereshit to be in kindergarten or preschool. That's when my Bereshit started. Bro, my genealogies existed for thousands of years. Thousands of years, like way before Africa was ever created. You know what I'm saying? Like they try to play me. Like I'm just like, nah, man. You are different than all human beings. Your existence, it's only like 700 years. Everybody else, we go back to the end of time. So again, like that I don't want to go on that whole path right now. But the point is just saying that I have so much DNA, I have so much wisdom, I have so much history from so many generations, from so many attributes, from American Indians, from Europeans, from Africans, from Spanish Americans, from people who are mixed in between. I have so much inside of me, so many DNA, so much genetic information inside of me, that I have to remove myself from the human system that was created and focus on God's system, but use some human terms to articulate who I am through the God system, right? So I need to look at my heritage, and my thing is that they say African American, but why are you acting like I don't have American Indian in me? Why are you doing that? Why are you acting like I don't have European in me? You see what I'm saying? Like, why are you doing that? See, you give me. I don't want to go down that path because this is my passion right now. Why are you trying to do that? Because the thing is, it's not that you're just playing me. I'm black. I'm the victim. No, they playing a white person too. They're trying to erase your identity too. You're white. So what does that mean? You're better than black people. That's your existence. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's like saying, like, hey, man, you made $100,000 and not a penny more. All right, but like, I can make more money. No, you can't. Why not? Because I gave you the $100,000 and that's all I'm going to give you. Yeah, but maybe I could get from another. No, you can't get from anybody else. You got it from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just better than the black person. Why can't I be equal? I don't feel right being superior. That doesn't help me. That doesn't feel right. You see what I'm saying? And then now you do that for generations, and and it becomes a psychosis. Whiteness is a psychosis. They're paranoid. They're paranoid. Right now, they're worried about losing their edge, and they got to reclaim whiteness. And the white people be like, "Who? You're not white. You're beige. You're beige. You're pink. Stop it." You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, we'll keep going tomorrow. Let me know more about this our brother who's traveling